Boston last week. I had a great time. I'll talk about anime Boston for a bit. Once I, do the regular introductions. As you can see, we're working on Gouf. So far, there is a head and a torso, and also 2 feet, because the way Gouf is built is kind of in a funky order that I don't quite understand, but it's fine, I guess. So that's our good friend Mr. Gouf. Still looks pretty sick. Sick as hell. Very happy. And yeah. We're just gonna be. I will not lie to you. Okay, I kind of forgot where we left off on. Okay, yeah. For some reason, we do the torso, the head, and then the legs. It's a choice, but I trust you, Bandai. I'm trusting you right now, Bandai, with how this is supposed to go. So that's what we're doing. Oh, the lighting keeps changing. Oh. Give me a second. What? There we go. My regular lighting. Oh shit! I dropped something on my table. Put that back. Excellent. Last week I was at Anime Boston. I was working there. I like working conventions. I've been working conventions for a couple of years now. Those of you who are tabletop gaming fans, may know about how we usually work, how tabletop gaming is usually at FurPoc every year. I've been with them at FurPoc for a couple of years now, and hopefully shall be back this year as well. Music is a bit loud. Okay. That's funky. Oh, it's because I didn't turn down the music volume. That's my bad. I didn't turn it down all the way. Okay. Usually I have it update automatically. I guess it just didn't this time. But yeah. I'm still not over the cool details in the But anyhow. Yeah. If you are a tabletop gaming fan, you may know that we usually we're usually running tabletop games at Furpocalypse. And I've been working with that for a couple years now, and I'll be back again this year. But I also work a couple other conventions just for fun. I've been working at Anime NYC for 2 years now. And this last weekend I worked at Anime Boston. Very fun. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've always liked conventions and whatnot. I've been going to Comic Cons and anime conventions since I was in high school. I've always enjoyed them. I still remember my very first convention. I was cosplaying Homestuck. At my very first convention. It was some local convention hosted in, I think it was hosted at UConn. I think it was literally UConn. I think that's what it was. It was UConn. I don't know if UConn is still a thing, but that was my very first convention. And it was a small convention. It was just hosted by a local college. And I had a great time. And I was my life was never the same. I cosplayed. I went to a cosplay meetup, a Homestuck cosplay meetup. I distinctly remember I cosplayed one of the characters that's not quite as popular to cosplay, but she was my favorite character. She was my favorite Homestuck character. And so I was cosplaying her, and I was the only person at this meetup that was cosplaying this character. So it was kind of funny when they're doing group photos. with like different groups of characters. It was just like 6 cosplayers of a different character just standing next to me, the one cosplayer of this one character. There's like a handful of other cosplayers, and it was just like not funny. I remember. But I was like, ever since then, I've just enjoyed going to conventions, and honestly, ever since I've started working at conventions, I kind of can't go back. I'm a big fan of working at conventions now, because one, I get in for free. I don't have to pay for my ticket. Yeah, I'm like working, but like I have always been a fan of like what I consider tasks jobs. I've always enjoyed doing like what I consider tasks jobs. The H runner. The H. Alright. Oh, this is the H runner. Excellent. But I've always been a fan of what I consider tasks jobs, which is just like a job where I just like have a thing that I have to do and I just do it. I know that's like every job. That's a terrible description. I know that's every single job. I know that's every job, but I don't know. I just like I have like the thinking jobs, right? I have like the thinking job where it involves like a lot of processing and like knowing how to do things, like and all of that stuff. And like I enjoy my thinking job. I like being a mechanical engineer. Like it's fun, but I do also enjoy like having a tasks job where it's just like something kind of repetitive, kind of menial, but like it's fun and I interact with people. Like I love doing like is like hobby like niche related stuff. It's great. I'm literally just getting paid to like basically do retail work and just talk to people about anime. Like it was a great time. It was such a fun time. Like I always liked doing that. That's why I liked working at the tabletop center, at the tabletop shop, because I don't know, man, it's just fun. Like I man the cash register, I do inventory, I clean shelves. Like those are all like tasks. I'm just given my tasks and I do them, and that's my job, and it's great. That's also like what working conventions is a little bit like that, where I just like hang out. I help people with things. I make sure like no one is stealing. I try and make sure no one's stealing. And I just like, yeah. And it's great. I just talk to people about like anime and manga and idols, and it's a great time. Like there's a lot of times when people like there's several times when people were like asking me for recommendations and stuff like that, because I was like manning DVDs and whatnot. I was like just hanging out around there, and I was like, because it's kind of like people. I worked for a booth, one of the dealers' booths, and I was kind of just like, what we usually do is we kind of just like float around, like, you know, someone's with the figures and someone's with the DVDs and someone's with like the inner like regular merch, like keychains and acrylic stands and stuff like that. And then there's like of course the cashiers and whatnot, and like people like sometimes you'll like go around and you like reorganize a bin that got like messed up. I remember the Oshinoko bin. Because we usually sort our merch by like if we have like a lot of merch for one specific thing, we'll have like a separate bin for it. And so we had like the Oshinoko bin, we had like the free rent bin, and for whatever reason, the Oshinoko bin just like ravaged all the time. Like what people are like animals, just specifically in the Oshinoko merch bin. I'm like, how does it get this messed up? I feel like I reorganized this like 30 minutes ago, and it's already like forked once again, and I'm like, what the heck? But that's generally like what the job entails. It's pretty nice, pretty fun. Like sometimes they'll need to. We have a bunch of hanging wall scrolls, and sometimes someone will buy a hanging wall scroll, and I'll have to use the big stick and get the wall scroll down, which is always fun. I love using the big stick to get the wall scrolls down. Um, it's a great time. Or I just like, I think a lot of the time, I think the thing that I did the most often was probably manning the figures, because I like anime figures, and all the time I'm like, hello, do you have any questions? And just talking to people about figures. Sometimes I'll like have conversations with people. Sometimes I'll just end up having like conversations with people about like anime figures and collecting, because oh my god, speaking of anime figures, I bought two over Anime Boston and I'm very happy with them. I'll talk about them in a bit, but I actually like didn't buy a lot of merch because I feel like, I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, you know, yeah, I say, like, you can read my brain, because I know you can, you know, but, I don't know, when it comes to, like, I think it's because, I think I went kind of crazy once conventions were, like, starting to be a thing again, because obviously during the old Panini, like, there were no conventions to go to, and I waited, like, a little bit, even after, I think, the first year Anime NYC came back, I didn't go because I was like paranoid. But the second year is when I started going again. And I was just like, I buy most of my anime merch and whatnot because I'm a big like I have big like collector's brain rot. It's so bad. It's so bad. I have like big collector brain rot where I just like, if I like something, I just want to like collect it. It's why I have like 50 million expensive hobbies. I like Gundam. I collect manga. I collect figures. I collect a lot of merch and prints and things like that. Just because like I like looking at things. I have a physical representation of a thing I like, and then looking at it just makes me happy. Like I joke about it. I don't personally. I don't really think it's a waste of money because it's like a thing I enjoy doing. I don't just like buy stuff for the sake of buying stuff. At least I try not to. At least I try not to. I try not to like buy stuff for the sake of buying stuff. It's like, oh, genuinely, like whenever I look at my keys and I have my little like Hoshimachi Suisei keychain on it, it makes me happy when I look at it because I love her. When I look at collecting stuff like manga and Gundam has more of like a, I guess is more of like a useful, quote unquote useful. Like Gundam is like an active thing that I do, and so I'm like, it feels more worth it because I like my Gunpla. Same thing with manga. Like I read my manga. I rarely buy a manga that I'm not going to read because a lot of the time when I buy manga, it's something I haven't read yet. And I buy it so I can read it physically. And so, like, that has, like, a functional use for me, where I buy it so I can read it, obviously. Same thing with now, I've just been getting into physical media in general. I've been collecting DVDs. You know what's kind of funky? When I was at Anime Boston, I just feel like maybe it's like a Boston thing. I guess I'll see when I go to a couple like other conventions throughout the year. But we sold, I don't know why. It feels like we sold a lot more DVDs than we normally do. Because I like in the past couple years that I've been working at Anime NYC, like we've always had DVDs, but usually the people that buy DVDs have been like the very niche collectors. Like, people that have been buying DVDs, like, the people who buy DVDs are the people who've been buying DVDs since, like, 1995. Like, that's been the audience of people that buy DVDs. Not a lot of, like, regular, your average Joe anime fan is going to buy a DVD. They tend to look more at, like, keychains and acrylic stands and buttons and, the things that I feel like more people tend to collect. But for whatever, I think, like, I know the reason. I have an idea about the reason. I have my theories about why. But this year, it feels like just a lot more people in general are interested in DVDs, and buying anime DVDs. And I was actually like talking to people about it because I've also been like for the past few months, I've been getting a lot more into collecting like physical media and DVDs and whatnot. Like I've always been a physical media fan. I've always been a physical media fan. Like I've been collecting records for a long time, because I just like the medium and I like records and I like having them physically. And I know it sounds pretentious, but I do genuinely like, depending on the music, if it's if it's an, because I listen to a lot of older music, not to be like older music, modern music is trash. No, I can't even say that. Like I'm literally a K-pop fan. Like I can't even be pretentious about pop music. I'm literally a K-pop fan. um, but I listen to a lot of older music, and I feel like a lot of music that was originally mixed for like vinyl and these kinds of physical pressings, sound better like in vinyl, honestly. Because I'm a big fan of like ABBA and whatnot, right? ABBA is my favorite band, in case you didn't know this piece of Salem lore. Um, my favorite band is ABBA because they're great. They have only bangers. ABBA, I love ABBA. But anyhow, anyhow, um, I feel like when I listen to it digitally, it just like sounds polished. It just sounds like too polished. Um, but then when I listen to it on vinyl, it's got that like familiar kind of grain to it. It's usually very subtle, but like it's got that familiar kind of grain to it that I feel like this song is meant, like this music is meant to have that. Like this is part of the experience of listening to this song. Is having that like little bit of grain to it. And it's just, I like it better because sometimes when I'm listening to it digitally, like I have it on, of course I have everything on like Spotify and whatnot. Um, I'm like, it sounds too smooth. And so I've always been a physical media fan, but lately I've just gotten into collecting like DVDs and whatnot because I'm like deeply, I've definitely talked about this, how I'm like deeply paranoid about streaming. I'm like deeply paranoid about streaming. Um because, right, like I I'm so tired of like things that I like just being popcorned around streaming services. It's so annoying, and it's especially like lately streaming services have just been like re-adding and canceling things and like all of that stuff, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like it's so easy for a streaming service to just decide like we don't want to have this anymore, and now this is basically considered lost media. And it like just die, I guess, if you want to watch this thing. Like I know there's always, you can watch, there's let's just say less than legal methods of consuming media, which I know will always exist, but even then there's something about like, I think the biggest example for me with this is Evangelion. Um, I have spoken at length at how much I hate the new like G Kid slash Netflix translation of Evangelion. I just think it sucks. I just think it's not very like written well, and it's, I have an essay about this, so we're not gonna get super into it. But moral of the thing is that I don't particularly like the Netflix mix of Evangelion, and so yeah, it's like, okay, well, I don't want to watch it on Netflix, so I guess I will watch it on the website. And even if you go on like the websites, um, a lot of those translations are using the new translation. They're basically just uploading it from Netflix, which is like, well, that's not what I wanted. And so I just had to like torrent the exact translation that I like, which was a pain, but like I did, and I literally have it on a flash drive. Um, I would love to own it physically someday because they're like, I believe the translation from like the Platinum DVD release in like 2007. I would love to own those DVDs if they weren't like $500. Um, But, but yeah, I've been getting really into physical media because I'm just like deeply paranoid, and I thought it was really interesting that I was like a lot more people are I was like, well, I like that it's not just me. I feel like this is like a general sentiment that is growing more, and it was kind of interesting to just like talk to people about it. So like, because of course there's like the diehard DVD collectors that have like been collecting DVDs since 1995 and just never stopped, like, but there's quite a few people that like came up and were like asking about DVDs, and we're like, oh, I like this series, it came out recently, do you guys have it? Like, oh, do you have any recommendations for like, I want like a new series to watch, and I'll just buy the DVD of it. Because even then, like, our DVDs are, at least in the booth that I worked for, we sold everything for like market price. um so some DVDs, of course, we had like some of the like fancy collector's edition for like $100 DVDs, but we also, most of our DVDs were like 15, 25 bucks, which is like, I would say, pretty normal DVD price, at least for like a brand new DVD. I buy most of mine secondhand, so I'm used to paying like $2 for a DVD. I'm used to paying like $2 for a DVD because I usually buy. It's like kind of crazy how no one cares about DVDs. I go to like a lot of like vintage, a lot of like games, like a lot of secondhand game stores and tabletops. Sometimes tabletop stores too will have like sections for DVDs. But they're always dirt cheap because no one cares about DVDs. Same with just like secondhand stores in general. There's a couple of like record stores I like going to that have DVDs, and the records are all like record price. Records are all market price based off of like what they're worth. But then you go to the DVD section and it's like, oh yeah, all DVDs are $1, and I'm like, let's go. My time is now. And so it's just fun. Like, I've really enjoyed just like being able to hang out, be playing. I've been playing a lot of Stardew lately. That's also what I've been doing. Is I'm still on that Stardew grind. I'm still on my Stardew Valley grind set. Because I love Stardew Valley. And it's been very fun to just like hang out, play Stardew Valley, like pop on a DVD and just like watch it in the background. Like, it's pretty fun. And so it's just nice to have these like movies and TV shows that I just like to have. And so yeah, I was talking to a lot of people about like, oh, why they're like becoming more interested in DVDs these days, because there's a lot of people buying DVDs that I was like very visibly was not the typical demographic for DVD buyers. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And what's funky, like I feel like I predicted this a little bit, because I've also been getting into buying anime DVDs lately, because like, I mean, obviously I don't rewatch a lot of anime, but like sometimes I do. And I would like to have the DVD of it, because I never really thought about it before, because anime, at least compared to a lot of Western media, is like so ridiculously easy to like find, both legally and illegally. But even then, it's still like, it's getting like, I don't know, man, it feels like the landscape is changing a little bit. And like, I kind of like, honestly, as once this started being a thing, I was like, I feel like it's one of the things that like kind of triggered me into buying more DVDs and whatnot. I was asking people, one thing a lot of people cited is the Funimation Crunchyroll merger as to why they're like getting a lot more into DVD collecting. Because it's like, well, one, as soon as it was announced, it's like, I was like, well, you know how streaming services are. Yeah, technically Crunchyroll, it's not like Funimation's library is disappearing. It's just merging with Crunchyroll's library, but the thing is, like, well, now Crunchyroll can just decide, like, if they don't want to pay the licensing for the series anymore, they just won't, and that anime will be considered gone. And I was, like, pretty sure that that's what was going to happen. And so does a lot of people. And it's funky. That's in fact what's happening. There's, like, a whole list that's been released of, like, titles that Crunchyroll is choosing. Yeah. Even then, without physical copies, you don't really own the anime. Exactly. Like, part of it is one, like, Funimation, like, right off the bat, it's kind of insane to me that Crunchyroll is choosing to not honor Funimation's digital licenses. with Funimation before, you could buy a Funimation DVD and also get like a little code to have get a little code to have the digital copy of that movie as well. Or you could just buy the movie like digitally. And it would just like be something you own in your Funimation library. But Crunchyroll, now that they're merging with Funimation, they're not honoring that anymore. Like, if you bought a digital DVD, like, not DVD, if you bought a digital movie via Funimation, or you have, like, a digital copy of a movie you bought, but, like, Crunchyroll just says, like, too bad, like, you don't have that anymore. So, like, yeah, that's exactly it, that even without, like, unless you have a physical copy, you never truly own that piece of media, which is, like, insane to me. And so, yeah, like, there's already Crunchyroll has announced like a bunch of titles that they're choosing not either they're choosing to only keep the dub or the sub. Like there's some that they're only keeping the dub, there's some that they're only keeping the subs, the subbed version. There's a lot of anime that they're just like choosing not to carry altogether, which is kind of insane. And a lot of them, it's not even like, oh, random obscure anime. Like of course some of them are like random obscure anime that has like 2 viewers per year. But some of them are like pretty hefty titles, I would say. Or I'm like, that's kind of crazy. I can't believe Crunchyroll is like choosing to not license this anymore. Which is like, well, yeah, what everyone thought was going to happen, and that's part of why people are kind of scrambling to buy DVDs now. Of like, well, I don't know if my favorite anime will still be available for me to watch, and so people are like, well, I'm just gonna buy it physically then. Even then, there's like a decent amount of people that was coming up to me and was like, oh, I've been looking into like watching an anime, like I've been looking into like I want like an anime that I can just like pop on, like that I've never seen before, that I just want to like, that I think I would like based off of like, oh, I want like a comedy, I want like a horror, and that just like that I just want to watch. I'll buy the DVD right now and I'll just watch it. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. And that I actually had a lot of fun doing that. If people asking like, do you have any recommendations for like a horror anime DVD that I can just like buy right now, or like a comedy anime DVD that I can just like buy right now and watch like with my friends or something? And I was like, yeah. Plus a lot of people having like just like lists of like, oh shoot, these are my favorite anime and I really want them physically because like I'm worried about not being able to watch my favorite anime anymore. And there's just like a lot of people, and like a lot of people cited the primary concern being the Funimation Crunchyroll merger, which I just thought was very interesting. Because I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of glad that this is like a thing that most people are aware of, and that like I'm just really glad that physical media is kind of making a comeback. It's messed up that it took like, it's kind of messed up that it takes like streaming service and these companies to like be bad. Like for lack of better terms, it kind of took like a lot of these companies like doing things that were messed up. But at the same time, it's kind of nice that people are getting more into physical media again. Though it's not as good for me because I've been depending on the fact that no one cares about DVDs and no one cares about physical media. Like at least for like DVDs and whatnot, like you can still buy DVDs like pretty dirt cheap. Like even that, I still like walk into Target and I see they have like a $5 DVD bin and you can buy. I remember I bought the DVD for Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is a very recent very popular movie. I bought that DVD for $10. It was a Blu-ray. It was $10 at Target. It's not even like I bought it secondhand. Brand new, Everything Everywhere All at Once, like DVD, and it was $10, which was kind of crazy. Which is like on the higher end for DVDs that I buy. I think like, I don't think I'd pay more than $20 for DVD. I don't think I've paid more. I think that no, the most I paid for DVDs, well, I guess you consider, I bought, I was literally at Target and I saw a box set of 10 Barbie movies. It was straight up a 10 Barbie movie box set for $15, which is insane to me. For like, excuse me, it was like $10. Not $10, it was $15 for 10 movies. So I guess $15 is kind of the most I've spent on DVDs. But that I got 10 movies in one go for $15. Let's go. But I'm very glad that I got those because I'm a big fan of like those classic Barbie movies, and it's so fun to just like have them. Now it's like a fun thing I do with my friends sometimes, where I have friends. It's very nostalgic for me. I have friends who also grew up on Barbie movies, and it's like very really fun to just like hang out and watch like our old favorite movie or something. Or I subject my friends that have never been in, who's never seen a Barbie movie in their life, and I'm like, time to watch a masterpiece. It's been really fun, and just like, I don't know, man, DVDs are great. And yeah, it makes me happy that people are getting more into physical media because it's like more of a conscientious issue. But at the same time, I'm not looking forward to the market price of DVDs being driven above $2. Because now I literally walk into Goodwill and I spend $10 and I get like 5 movies. Of course, I'm not just like collecting for the sake of collecting. I try, I know, it's so hard. I very much have like collector's disease, where if it's like something I like, I will want to buy it. Like if I see DVD of something I like, I will want to buy it. Like especially when I was looking at all the anime DVDs, man, it was so tempting to just like buy a ton of them because I'm like, oh, I like this anime and I like that anime and I like this one. I should have the DVD of it. But then when I think about it, I'm like, is this something I actually would want to rewatch? Is the real question. Is this something I would want to rewatch? And the answer is usually no, because there's not a lot of anime that I want to rewatch. But of course, like, I want all the Ghibli movies physically. I'm in the process of that. So far, I've got a handful of them, and I'm working on the other ones. It's more of like a you know, as it goes, because the Ghibli movie DVDs can also get kind of expensive because they're currently published by G Kids. Like some DVDs that are like out of print, no one cares about, I buy it for $2. But the ones that are like still actively in print, especially like that's kind of the thing with a lot of these anime DVDs, is that a lot of them are like actually still in print, especially for like Ghibli movies and whatnot, because people watch Ghibli movies. And so, like, I have to pay, you know, brand new prices for them. And even then, the brand new price is like 15. When I set up $15, I think 15 is kind of the most I've spent. I think, because I bought the DVDs for House Moving Castle, I have Princess Mononoke, I have Porco Rosso, all bangers. And I think I paid like 15 for each of them because those are like on the upper end for DVD prices. That's like the upper end for DVD prices. At least in terms of what I'm willing to pay. At least in terms of what I'm willing to pay. Because like, I think the only DVD I was like tempted to purchase was like, I am currently hunting. It's also like, I kind of also enjoy the hunt a little bit. Like, that's kind of the thing with records too, right? Like, I know like most records that I could possibly want, I can buy it on the internet very easily. But I don't do that like on purpose unless it's something I like very distinctly want. For the most part, like, so one part of the fun with records is the hunt. I don't know if that makes any sense. So part of the fun about record collecting is the hunt and just like going to record shops and secondhand stores and just like crawling through the selection and being like, oh shoot, I've been wanting this album, and finding it and like being on the hunt. That's kind of how I feel about DVDs a little bit right now, where part of the fun is the hunt, where I'm like, you know, I would like to have a DVD of like, I really want, there's a handful of DVDs that I probably will buy online that I think it will be hard to buy otherwise. Like a couple of these, like I want Princess Tutu. I want a DVD of Princess Tutu because it's one of my favorite animes and I want to rewatch it. Like, it's one that I want to have and rewatch, but I'm like, but I know I'm not finding it in the wild. I'll have to buy it online somewhere. I don't even know if it's still in print, but I'll try. Because yeah, I struggle. But we're getting there. We're working on it. And so, like, part of the fun is, like, seeing a DVD, like, seeing a movie that I like out in the wild. And, like, oh, I've been wanting that. I want that DVD. And, like, that's part of the fun, I would say. That's my... I'm sorry, my tangent about Anime Boston turned into talking about DVDs once again. But Anime Boston was really fun. I also... I probably, like, more significant than just talking about DVDs is I went to a concert. I went to a concert for Queen Bee, which is one of my absolute favorite, like, J bands. They're probably one of my favorite bands in general. Like, I love Queen Bee. I've been a big fan of them for years. They're really, really good. They've done, like, a bunch of... I think what they're probably most known for is that they have done, like, a bunch of anime openings that people know. They did... I think the thing that people know the most right now is they did the ending theme for Oshinoko, Mephisto. And it's like, lost a chance. It's a good song. They did the ending theme for Oshinoko. They did one of the ending themes for Chainsaw Man. They did the opening for Dororo. The opening for Undead Unluck. They did a bunch of openings in, like, anime music. But their, like, regular music is really good. I just like Queen Bee. I just think they make good music. And they're just, like, a really good band. And the lead singer, Abu-chan, her, like, presence and her, like, performance ability is insane. Like, actually insane. And I was so happy to, like, see them play in person, because, like, her stage presence is actually insane. Like, you cannot, like, take your eyes off of her. And it's crazy. Like, I always love watching their, like, performance videos and their music videos and whatnot, because the production's really cool, the aesthetics are really cool, and, like, they're all very talented. And, like, Abu-chan's, like, performance ability is actually insane. And to see it in person, I was, like, losing my mind. I literally, I screamed my lungs out. It was crazy. I screamed my lungs out. I had a great time. It was a great concert. Surprising enough, I got pretty decent seats. I lucked out and got pretty decent seats, and I was just, like, I was having a great time. I feel so bad. I've been buying CDs. I've only bought one CD so far. I've always told myself, like, I'm not going to start collecting a form of, like, I think the one thing that's been stopping me from collecting CDs is the fact that I don't own a CD player. Like, I didn't start collecting records myself until I had a record player. When I got a record player is when I started collecting records. So, like, I don't like preemptively collecting a thing that I can't even use. And so I'm like, well, I can't start collecting CDs. I don't have a CD player. But there's this, like, there's this little sushi restaurant. This is relevant, I promise. There's this little sushi restaurant that's near where I live. And it's literally, like, a mom and pop shop. It's, like, run by this old Japanese guy that inherited the restaurant from his dad, and it's run by, like, him, his wife, and his kids. And they make it's really good. It's a really good sushi restaurant. And at one point I was there, and they just had, like, a bin of, like, old Japanese CDs that just said free. And I'm like, oh my god. And so I did the thing, I dug through them, and I found, like, a bunch of bangers, and I took them because they're free, and they're, like, cool older Japanese CDs of music that I like. There's, like, Hikaru Utada and Tatsuya Mashita, and Hiroshima, and, like, there's a lot of banger albums in there. And so that's exactly what I did. Now I'm like, oh shoot, now I'm a CDs person, but I don't even have a CD player because I've been wanting to start collecting CDs because I've been getting into like J idols and whatnot, and a lot of J idols they only and just like a lot of the few contemporary. I do listen to some contemporary music. Okay, I'm not that bad. I do listen to some. I don't think all modern music is garbage. I'm literally, like I said, I'm literally a K-pop fan. I have like no leg to stand on here and being pretentious about pop music. But yeah, a lot of stuff like K-pop and a lot of like the contemporary music that I like is only released in CD form. And I'm like, oh man, like I listen to a lot of J idols. I like VTubers. Okay, something that people have been knowing about me is that I like VTubers, and a lot of VTuber music is only released on CD. And like, I want to support them, and I want a physical copy of your music, except I don't own a CD player. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll just die. But now I got a bunch of CDs for free, and I'm like, oh shoot, I guess I'm a CD person now. So I bought a physical copy of Queen Bee's album while I was at their concert, and I got a really cool shirt. I got a bunch of cool merch. I literally like. What was funny is the line for the it felt like the line for the merch table was I've stood in line for the merch table. I feel like longer than the concert was. That's not true. It wasn't actually, but like it felt like it. It was pretty close. I stood in that line for like over an hour, which is kind of crazy. Because I was just like hanging out. Funny enough, I went to the concert. I forgot. I went to the concert with my brother. Because my brother visited me at Anime Boston. And we went to the concert, and it was pretty sick. But yeah, no, like he left obviously because he's like with our parent. Him and my parents had to go home and do their thing. But I was like, well, I want to buy merch, so I will stand in the merch line, I guess. And I just stood there, and I was like by myself. I ended up bonding with the people that were in line with me. I ended up becoming friends with the people in line with me, which was fun. Is this correct? Question. See, this is what happened. Like, this is what happens when I don't build Gundam for 2 weeks, because usually, like, okay, I've built on stream. I do that every week, but obviously I'm a person who likes doing model kits. I have my personal kits that I just work on in my off time. But lately the thing that I've been working on is like this paper craft thing, because I got this like really fun little actually I literally have the little instruction guide next to me, because I literally just like cleared it off my table so I can make room for Gouf again. It's one of these things, these little like diorama kits. It's really cute, and I've been working that's what I've been working on for the past couple weeks, in my off time, and not like Gundam or not like Gunpla, which is what I tend to do. And so I feel like it's been 2 weeks since I've touched a Gunpla. This is so like what happened to me. It's been 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks since I've touched a Gunpla, which feels like forever. Yeah, this is facing the correct way, but oh, this is part. I'm intelligent. We're gonna zoom in a little bit so you can actually see what the hell I'm doing. Yeah. You ever make customs? I do a little bit. I have. I'm literally like having. I'm literally like having withdrawals. That's what it feels like. I'm literally like having Gunpla withdrawals. I don't touch a Gunpla for 2 weeks, and I'm like, what happened to me? What's happening to me? But yeah, I do custom sometimes. I like painting. I've painted a couple of kits. Right now, I'm working on my first Kitbash, actually. I'm working on my first Kitbash. It is... I'm doing... I'm like... It's with a Mecha girl. It's with one of the 30-Minute Sisters girls, but also with Barbados. And I'm just like kind of just mashing those kits together and seeing what happens. But I've been dipping my toe into custom work. I've painted a couple of kits. I like painting. And this is my first like proper kit bash. And so yeah, I do enjoy dipping my toe into customs. They're fun. I like painting. Man, there's still a couple of projects, like, there's still a couple of painting projects that are, like, in the works of, like, things that I'm so bad at, like, finish. I'm so, like, such a terminal, like, project not finisher, which is one of the nice things about this stream, where I'm kind of just, like, I've sat down, and I, like, have to finish this Gunpla. I have to finish this kit. I'm finishing this kit, and I have to, I have to do it, and, like, that's it. And, like, I finish it, obviously, like, the way it works is I finish it in one go, because that's, you know, I'm streaming it, you know, it's how time works. And so I finish one kit, and then I move on to the next. And it's great. It's, like, it's kind of a lie, but it's one of the main reasons why I, like, end up finishing kits, because otherwise, I, like, start and I stop so many things. It's so bad. I start and I stop so many things. I just like keep doing that. But I like having this stream because I'm like, okay, I'm going to finish this. I'm working on Mr. Gouf, and we are going to finish Gouf. Like, a lot of my finished kits are ones that I made on stream. Cause literally, like, I literally, like, when I was at Boston, I mean, I wasn't really planning on buying Gunpla there anyway, because a lot of conventions just, like, upcharge. And I'm like, I don't want to buy overpriced Gunpla, because they're probably not really going to have kits that, like, there are some kits that are, like, out of print and hard to get that I'm willing to pay extra for, but for, like, regular stuff that's still in print, I'm like, I'm not paying $40 for a high grade. That's not the life that I'm trying to live right now. And so I wasn't really planning on buying much Gunpla over in Boston, mostly because I just don't want to pay convention prices. But the other reason why I literally kind of can't buy any more Gunpla is I have my backlog corner. I have a little corner where I keep my backlog of kits, of, like, kits that are in progress or kits that I haven't touched yet, my unbuilt and my in progress. My little backlog corner. And my backlog corner is literally full. They're like there's like 3 boxes in my backlog corner that are just like unfinished kits. I just need to finish them and then they are out of the backlog corner. But then it's just like, I just haven't done it. It's so bad. This week I've been doing my first Kitbash. But I've been doing 3 for a first time. I mainly have been having trouble finding ways to customize a Gundam Stray red frame flight unit. That's pretty cool. One of the things, honestly, like, what I've been doing with my custom stuff is playing around with, like, colors and shapes. Because a lot of pieces have, like, similar... Like, Gunpla is Gunpla. A lot of pieces have similar mechanics and how they fit together and whatnot. Like, part of one of the things that inspired the current Kitbash I'm working on, which is a 30-Minute Sister and Barbados, is I saw, like, the way Barbados' spine connects into Barbados' upper torso is kind of similar to how a 30-Minute Sister, like, the way a 30-Minute Sister is built is you build the upper chest and then the middle torso and then the lower torso. And I was like, oh, I can just pretty easily swap the middle torso for, like, a Barbados spine, and it looks really cool. And I think one of the things that I like doing is just see, like, what kind of pieces fit together and how that looks. But that's pretty sick. Doing 3 for a first time is kind of crazy. Even now, I'm like, ooh, I mean, in the future, I might borrow a few pieces from other kits, But my goal right now is I just want like a Barbados girl because I like Barbados's design, but I want to adapt it to like a Mecha girl because I know they have made like, I know there's like official there's official Mecha girl Gundam collab, like that's like a thing. But I will not lie to you, I don't like the designs that much. I don't like the designs that much. So I'm just like, what if I just make one instead? Which is what I'm doing. Which is exactly what I'm doing. And so yeah, I think a good thing to do is just like play around with shapes and see what fits together. But that's pretty sick. A Gundam Astray Red Frame flight unit. Good luck. Honestly, one of the things that was kind of stopping me at first is I was like, because I've been building Gunpla for like a few years now, but it has taken me a long time to kind of build up to like customs and kit bashing, because I just felt like I was kind of intimidated by it. Yeah, just felt like I was kind of intimidated by it, and I don't know why. I just thought it's just not something I could do. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. It was just one of those things where I was like afraid to just like mess up a kit, you know? I was afraid to like mess things up and like ruin a kit or something like that, and I was just like terrified, which is partially why it took me so long to get into like customs and kit bashing and whatnot. But once you kind of like take that first plunge, you're in it. Like, you're in it. And it's really fun. At least for me, that was how it was for painting. Or like, once I started painting, I'm like, oh yeah, this is great. So I feel like painting is also one of those things that I was very intimidated by, that I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by, but for painting, it's really not as bad as you think. And I don't know why I like started painting, but I still felt that way about kit bashing, where I was like, oh yeah, no, I've been painting kits, I've been repainting kits, but I still can't kit bash, you know, that's like too much. Like, I don't know if I can do that. That seems really hard. But then I was like, oh, you just do it. You just do it. You just do it, and then you get used to it, and then you start, like, I don't know, man. The learning curve for a lot of these things, what I've realized is not, yeah, you're horrified of messing up connection bits. 100% me too. Even now, I'm still working on my first kit bash. I'm like terrified of like breaking something that's kind of like, that's like a connection bit that's gonna be hard to like replace or get like an alternative for. But one of the things that I've determined, like even outside of kit bashing, is a lot of connector bits are the same between kits. A lot of connecting pieces are like, because the other thing with kit bashing, I guess it depends on how you want to go about it, but like, you know, with a regular Gunpla, you just need like, really all you need are like cutters. But, and so you don't, there's this thing of like, you don't use glue, you don't use anything like that. Like, no glue, no nothing, you're just in there. You're supposed to go in there. No glue, no nothing, you're just supposed to go in there. But with kit bashing, I'm like, it's free reign, actually. You glue pieces, if something breaks, you can just fix it. If something breaks, you can just fix it. If a connection bit breaks that you didn't want it to, just glue it back together. Or you just take pieces of plastic, because especially with a lot of connection bits are standardized between kits. I've absolutely, just like outside of kit bashing, like I break something while I'm building a kit, and I just like borrow a piece from a different kit, because a lot of them will come with like, especially those like little polycap pieces are like, they're exactly the same, and your kit, like a lot of kits give you extras. So if an important one breaks, there's a decent chance another kit probably has it that you can just like take from, which I've absolutely done before. Or you can like, something I've done before too is like, if I break a connector, is I use like runner plastic to kind of replace it. I kind of like cut and shape the runner plastic and just glue it back until it's like close enough. And as long as it's together, I'm like, I'm calling that one a good enough. Yeah. we'll just call that one a good enough. And so, like, it's one of those things where I'm like, I used to be so terrified of that exact thing of like, I remember when I like broke my first piece. The first time I like broke a piece, I was like losing my mind. I was like, oh my god, everything's ruined, my life is over, I've wasted an entire kit. And then I'm like, I could just glue it. I could just fix it. And same thing applies with like kit bashing, honestly. I've been having a lot of fun now that I've finally like taken the plunge into like into like doing kit bashing, because that's kind of how I felt about painting too, where I was like, what if I mess something up? And I've absolutely like messed things up while painting. And in which case I repaint things. I paint things over it, I try again. I'm like, yeah. Because you can just do that. You can just do that. No one will stop you. Like, most mistakes are not permanent is kind of the thing that I've had to internalize when it comes to like customs and kit bashing. And even then, like, sometimes mistakes are kind of things you can work with. I remember, and when I was custom painting, one of the first things I've ever like airbrush painted. Which I think I was repainting a high grade Sigrun, which is one of the IBO high grades. I was repainting Sigrun, and I did like a blue metallic base, but I wanted to do like gold accents, so like a gold gradient on some pieces. And I remember I like messed up. I like got a bit of gold paint on like the head part that I didn't want to get gold paint on, and I was like, oh no, ugh, my life is over. But then I was like, well, this gold is already here, so I just started painting more gold onto it and ended up making like a little design on the helmet of just like brush painting like gold, like little gold lines on there. It's like, and I'm like, oh, that looks kind of nice. And so that's what I just ended up doing. And so, yeah. Even though it's kind of intimidating, which even now, I'm still kind of intimidated by messing up and all of that, and like irreversibly damaging my kits, especially when doing like custom stuff. Like, everything is fixable. Really everything is fixable. Some things might be harder to fix than others, but like, it's fixable. When honestly, you kind of just gotta like release your inhibitions. Okay, I can't sing the rest of that, or else copyright might come for me. Sorry, Miss Natasha Bedingfield, please don't kill me. But that really just is. You kind of just gotta do it. And it's scary to do it at first, but once you do it, I feel like once I started, I think one of the steps that I was like most afraid of when I'm working on my first kit bash is I was like, I'm afraid of like hacking pieces apart. Like, what if I mess up? Like, what if something happens? But once I started doing it, I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, because there's a couple pieces that I wanted to put together that weren't like quite fitting together, and I just like started cutting at it until it fit. I just started cutting and shaping it myself until it fit. And I was like, okay, yeah. That's it. That's the thing that I did. If any of you guys have ever, like, I'm curious, like, have any of you guys also worked on, like, custom pieces, and, like, have you ever, like, had to really fix something? Like, you were doing something, and you got part of the way into it, and you're like, I messed up. Oh, I messed up. Or, like, there have been times, like, currently one of the painting projects that I've been working on that has just been on the black burner for, like, a minute, is I've been repainting my, Master Grade Gundam Wing. The pretty Endless Waltz one. 3 kits that I'm using are Gundam Straight Red Frame Flight Unit, Gundam Hajiroboshi, and Gundam Vidar. That sounds cool. That's funky. I think the other thing is to just, like, I like just going for it, but I feel like, at least on the, like, for me, when it comes to, like, custom making, I feel like I kind of have to have a vision. I have to have, like, a vision or, like, a concept for, like, what I'm going for before I really start going at it. Or else I just won't know what I'm doing. Because that's happened to me where I'm like, I want to paint something, but I won't like have an idea for what I actually want to do. I won't have like a really, it doesn't have to be like an exact plan. You don't have to have like a sketched out, like a detailed build plan or something, but just like a concept, an idea for what you want to do with it. And I've like done that, and I was like, well, actually, I don't know what I'm doing. Even sometimes I do. Like one of the, like I said, one of the projects that has just been on my back burner forever is Master Grade Endless Waltz. And so I remember I like started painting it. I primed all the pieces for like what I wanted to paint them for, and I started painting a couple of the pieces, and then I just realized like I actually don't like this color combination. I think it's not that good. And now I'm kind of just stuck where I'm like, well, what do I do with this now? I've already primed them. I've already painted a couple of them. I'm like, what now? And so eventually I'll figure out what I want to do with my Endless Waltz. But that's like, it's one of those things you kind of just get stuck there. For the first one, I had inspiration from the Pokemon King Gamut. Oh, that's kind of cool. See, that's like fun. And you have like a vision. Like that's kind of what I'm doing with my current Kitbash of I just want to make Mecha Girl Barbados. I want like, because I've talked about it before. I actually did part of this Kitbash on stream. I did part of that Kitbash on stream because I think I was in an in-between week, and I was like, well, I guess that's what we're doing. And I talked about it how a lot of those, because there is a line of like Mecha Girl Gundam. I think it's a collab. I want to say, I don't know if it's 30 Minute Sisters collab. I don't think it is, but it's like a might have been a Frame Arms collab, something like that. But there is a line of Mecha Girls that are like basically supposed to be like girl versions of Gundam, of like mobile suits. But I just don't like the designs that much because it really just looks like you took girls and you just slapped like Gundam armor on them, and I was like, that's all kind of lame. I want them to be cyborgs. I want them to be robots. So that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm just making like my ideal like Barbados girl. If you guys have ideas for Kitbashes, please let me know, because I just like, not that I'll steal your ideas or anything. Don't worry. It's more just like I like getting inspiration. I like hearing what people are doing. There's a bunch of people I follow on YouTube that do like customs and whatnot that are so sick. There's this one YouTuber that I really like who almost exclusively does customs of Mecha Girls. Exclusively does a lot of customs with Megami Device and Frame Arms Girls. And they're so cool. They're so cool to watch, because sometimes I'll also like kitbash them and like custom make like people that you like clay model. Like that's a line I haven't gotten to yet, where I'm like people that like clay model a lot of their own pieces. I'm like, that's kind of crazy. I'm not at that level of skill, but I am at the level where I'm like, yeah, I'll just like grab pieces from other kits and I'll see what happens for fun. I'll just see what happens for fun. How does this go? Where does this go? I'm assuming this goes in here. Oh wait, no. I still need to snip this little piece. But yeah. I think what I'm doing right now is pretty sick, and Neo Rain Sky is really fun to. I'll check them out. I think the one that I've been watching is I think they're just called like Yuchi. It's a Japanese guy, but he has English subtitles. But he's got English subtitles, so it's okay. But he does a lot of fun like Mecha Girl customs that are just really sick. I think recently one of the Megami Device Girl came out with a Centaur Girl kit, which is kind of like, I was very mixed on it. I ended up not getting it because I'm like, she freaks me out a little bit, I won't lie to you, the Centaur Girl. So I didn't get her. But it's one of those things. It's one of those things where I'm like, she kind of freaks me out. But it's fine. Where did my polycap? Where did I put that? But it's really fun to like watch the custom happen. But he customed he kitbashed the Centaur girl, and I was like, okay, maybe Centaur girl's kind of cool actually. I take it back a little bit. Centaur girl's kind of cool. I don't think this is the correct polycap thing. See, this is the problem with just having Gundam bits everywhere. Oh, here's the correct polycap one. This is the one that I want. This is not the polycap one that I want. I don't even know if that's from Gouf. I think that polycap thing might be from something completely separate. The polycap runner might be from a completely different kit. Love that for me. Should probably be better about that. I, like, genuinely... so many, it's a bunch of my friends that sent me that one video of the Gunpla builder that has like the bar and has a bunch of those like little, those little name tag pulleys connected to like runners, and I'm just like doing this, snip, 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 pulling it back, like it being pulled back. I'm like, wait, that's so cool. I had several friends send that to me because it just looks cool. I was like, okay, I kind of genuinely want to do it because it might improve my runner, or it will improve my runner. I say my non-existent runner organization. Will improve my non-existent runner organization. So I would genuinely want to do that because I feel like my setup is where the way my hobby room and my hobby table is set up is, I feel like, kind of conducive to that. So yeah. But for now, we still have to live with my terrible runner organization. I feel like I try a little bit of runner organization, but then see, that's also the problem with having like a bunch of kits in progress is I'll have like a bunch of things. Like when I'm streaming, I have to like clear off what was already, I make space for like, usually I have like a space on my table for like whatever stream kit I'm working on, and like, I have like this whole time I've always had my little Gouf corner on my table, but like this is like, the main area of my hobby table where I'm doing most of my building and whatnot, where I'm like, well, I'll like move stuff around and I'll have something here and I'll have something there. Like lately I've been working on like that funky papercraft thing, but sometimes I'm working on other Gunpla and sometimes when I'm like clearing things off and moving things around, like I think I have a stack of like water slide decals from various things. It's bad. But it's fine. I like my hobby table. I'm someone that very like, I sort the runners I'm not using in the sections in the box lid and the runners I am in the bottom of the box. That's a good idea. I have the box. I usually keep my runners like in the box. And I keep them stacked on the box is what I tend to do. But I don't like, it's bad. I try and separate them, but sometimes I don't. Okay, why my runner organization is pretty bad. Ooh, we're at the center color page. Look at that. I'm so happy. I love when kits do this. I love when kits give me like the cool center color page and it tells you like about the kit and all the cool like mechanical stuff to it. That's what I love. This is where it's at. This is where it is McFreaking at. And now this is to make it the right leg. But yeah, I oftentimes have just like a lot of stuff strewn about my table. You guys should be glad you're only seeing like this little rectangle. You guys should be glad you only see like this little rectangle of space. Because the rest of my table is, kind of rough. Kind of rough to see, I will not lie. But I'm someone who's a fan of like, I think it might just be cope. Honestly, it might just be cope on my part. But I'm a fan. I like controlled chaos, which I know is an oxymoron, but um I'm a fan of just like a lot of my space is chaotic. I'm a big maximalist. Whatever the opposite of minimalism is, that's me. I'm a maximalist. I just like having things everywhere. I just like having things everywhere. I'm not someone like my mom has tried to like train me into being something that like puts everything in the little bin that it's supposed to be in and puts things away and out of sight. I'm like, for me, I feel like I have the object permanence of like a goldfish. If it's out of sight, it is out of mind. If it is out of sight, it is out of mind. And I'm so bad at like, I hate putting things away and having to take them back out. It seems like such a waste of time for me. Um, which is why I never do that. So I feel like for a long time I tried to be the kind of person that does do that, of like kind of forcing myself into like being that kind of organized, of like I put everything in its little bin where it's supposed to go and I put it away when I'm not using it. But I like what ends up happening is I just don't keep up with any of it. I just never stuck to it because inevitably, like, I hate doing that. Like, it just isn't conducive to like how I want to live my life and how I work on things. And like what I do. And so I started adapting to just like basically not do that. Like, I leave all of my things out, but I try and have like a system for how, like, where I put things and how I put them. So it's not just like things everywhere. Um, so like I like the idea. I like having all of my things laid out. I like having my things always laid out, always having access to them. I can just see them with my eyeballs all the time. Most of the time. I mean, of course I'm not like everything has to be out, but I'm like, if I'm actively working on something or if I'm actively doing something, literally like I have, okay, like I think one example is I have like a makeup table. I have like a makeup table, and I used to try and like whenever I finished doing my makeup, I'd put it in a little box of all of my makeup stuff and I'd put it away. And then every time I'd want to do my makeup again, I have to take everything out and do it again, and that's a huge pain for me. Like, I hated doing that. And so now I just have like a designated little space on this table where I just keep all of my makeup stuff. It's just always out because it's a pain for me to like not have it that way. I try and keep it organized. I try and like have it be in a presentable state, but like, you know, I still like having it out. Same thing with my hobby stuff. Like, all the projects I'm working on, I like having them out. And I like looking at them so I know what I'm working on. Because otherwise I'll forget. Like, genuinely, there are times when I'm working on a kit and I put it back in the box and I put it back in the stack and I forget about it. Because genuinely, out of sight, out of mind. I have the object permanence of a goldfish. It's bad. It's bad. And so I like having things out. Same with like, I don't know, man. I think I'm a very like visual person, I would say. I'm a very like, I like looking at things. I like seeing the things that I like. I like having my anime figures and my collections and my DVDs and my manga, and I like having all of that out, and I like being able to see it. It's just something I like doing. It's just something I like doing. I don't know, something about it makes me feel more alive, you know? Like, power to the people that can be like minimalism and be like, I only have the bare necessities. Everything I'm not using either gets put away or I just don't have it. If I don't need something, I don't have it. And I'm like, I respect that a lot. But genuinely, that cannot be me. I like can't do that. I would feel like I'm dying. Because I feel like I need visual confirmation. Like, I feel like I'm someone that needs to... My space has to be like a reflection of me. I feel like my space, I very much like, it's a form of self-expression for me. Like, my space has to be what I want it. It has to like feel like it's me. I have to put myself in the space around me to like remember that I'm alive, you know? Like, I've had periods of my life where I'm like living in a college dorm or something. I'm like living in a college dorm and it's like a mostly empty space. Like, genuinely, whenever I do something like that. Like one of the first things I do is decorate, because if I don't, I'll feel like I'm dying. Where I'm like, I'm living in like an empty room with like nothing in it, and if I live like that for too long, I start getting sad. And so I need to decorate. I like having my space feel like me. I put up prints. I put up prints and figures and things, and just like displaying. I have a lot of things displayed in my home because I like them. Because I like them. And so I have a lot of things displayed in my home because they make me happy. And looking at them, I love walking into my kitchen and seeing my Dungeon Meshi print because I think it looks cool. And I'm like, I like Dungeon Meshi. I'm a big fan of just like self-expression through like, honestly, even though I know please, I know this is just an excuse, and I'm just coping with the fact that my desk is messy. But like, even the fact that like I just have a hobby table full of stuff. I have a hobby table full of like half-built kits and parts and pieces everywhere, and just like I have a little rubber bird because it's cute. I got it in a blind box, and I just like haven't put it anywhere else, so it lives on my table now. I just like have a bunch of stuff that I just keep here, and it just like, even though it could definitely be more organized, I like looking at it. I like having it out. I like being able to see the things that I like. It makes me happy, and it reminds me that I am a person and I'm alive. So yeah. Anyway, oh, I did say I would talk about this. My anime figures that I've purchased at Anime Boston. I'm very happy. I've been getting into figure collecting. I like I've really only been collecting like Miku figures. Though I do have a handful of like, I've got a couple of like Nendoroids that aren't Miku, you know? But most of the figures that I collect are Miku figures. So in case you're not like super aware of what figures are like, there's really like two main types of figures. There's scale figures and there's prize figure, or like not general non-scale. So I guess there's like scale figures, prize figures, and then stuff like Nendoroids and whatnot, like the ones that are like, you know, super hyper stylized, like that kind of thing. But for the most part, scale figures and prize figures are the ones that just like look like an anime character. They're just like, here's the character, doing like a fun pose. Those are the static, like those are the kind of two types of static figures. And so prize figures / non-scales are, so scale figures are very expensive, while prize figures / non-scales are significantly less expensive. Like the price difference between your average prize figure and your average scale figure is insane. Like I would say your average prize figure is maybe like $30-40. I would say the average prize figure price is like $30-40, versus the average scale figure price is like $150 to $200 is what I would say the average scale figure price is. And obviously both of these prices like fluctuate depending on the figure and market price and all of that, market value, all that stuff, you know. But for the most part, like that's what I would say the averages are. Like I would not be paying more than $40 for a prize figure. That's highway robbery. If it's more than like $40, that's highway robbery. For a prize figure, absolutely not. So this is my lesson to you guys. If you ever see like a fun little anime figure that you want at like a store or a convention, and it doesn't have like this is a 1/7 scale, this is a 1/8 scale, because scale, the way you know it's a scale figure is it'll tell you. It says this is a 1/7 scale, this is a 1/4 scale, this is a 1/8 scale. And they're significantly higher quality. Scale, like, the quality difference for a scale figure is insane. Though, honestly, these days, there's a lot of prize figures that are also quite nice. Like, that's why I've mostly just been collecting prize figures, because they're kind of, like, all I could afford. And also, like, the way the market works for both prize and scale figures is kind of different. Like, the release schedules and how to buy them is kind of different. prize figures, for the most part, like, you can kind of buy them anytime. Like, sure, there's, like, they do also have, like, the whole pre-order sale periods, but prize figures, for the most part, you can kind of just buy them if you want one. Especially with things like pop-up parade existing. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with pop-up parades. I own 2 pop-up parades. They're both VTubers. I have 2 of the Hololive pop-ups. They're pretty cute. They're really cute. I like them. But pop-up parades are very much, like, meant to be, you know, baby's first figure. They're meant for people that are, like, not really, that want to get into figure collecting, but don't want to, like, pay a ridiculous price for a scale figure. And also, like, the level of effort and the production in prize figures and scale figures is wildly different. Like, there are prize figures that are really good these days. Like, I do still collect prize figures. I, like, have collected prize figures for a long time. But I bought my first scale figure. I bought 2 scale figures. I bought 2 scale figures. Don't ask me how much they cost. I don't want to... That's not something we're going to be thinking about right now. But I bought 2 scale figures. And they are beautiful, gorgeous, amazing. They're everything I could have ever wanted. I'm so happy. Like, I kind of understand why people probably don't always think they're worth it, because you are paying, like, $200 for an anime girl, but, like, well, not always an anime girl. There's anime boy figures, too. There's a few anime boy figures that I do want. But this weekend I've only gotten 2 girls. But I love them dearly. The first figure that I bought is Yuko from Holic. If any of you guys know what... I mean, it's spelled like XXX Holic, but you're supposed to say it like Holic. It's a very, like, nostalgic series for me. I'm a long-time Clamp fan. They stopped publishing manga. In my heart, they stopped publishing manga after 2008. But, you know, I am still a long-time Clamp fan. And, yeah, Holic is, like, just one of those things. It's very nostalgic to me. I love Yuko. She's, like, my favorite character in Holic because it's Yuko. And there's one Yuko scale figure that is just, like, beautiful. It is gorgeous. And I've been wanting it for a long time because it is so pretty. It is such a, like, beautiful figure. And I managed to find her at Anime Boston for, like, not a terrible price, and I haggled her down to, like, not a terrible price. And I was very happy, and now I have her. She's gorgeous. You know what? I'll post pictures of them in the Discord. I'll put them in the Discord. If any of you guys, if you're in the Discord, if you're in our Discord, I will post them in there. Because I love me and my figures. Let's see. The disc cord. Let's see. Brunch and Build. There's Yuko. Well, Yuko's she's a little spicy. I mean, she's not that bad. She's not, like, explicit or anything. She's saucy. I will say that she's saucy. She's not like a crazy, you know, spicy figure. She's just a little saucy, because that's just, like, she is as a character. That's just, like, how she kind of is as a character. But it is a beautiful figure. And then the other figure, oh yeah, I'll post both of them on the Discord. They're both very beautiful figures that I'm very happy about having. Excellent. They've been... Oh, they're posted. They're getting posted in there. And if you're curious as to my anime figures, there's Yuko, and the other figure I got was Rei from Evangelion, from specifically the Radio Eva line, okay? Okay, I'm gonna be a bit of, like, a figure nerd for a minute, because I love... Like, Radio Eva Rei has been one of my, like, holy grail figures for, like, years. Like, ever since the line started existing, I'm like, I want them. They are beautiful, they're gorgeous, they're amazing. I affectionately call her Rei with drip, because that's what she is. Radio Ava, the Radio Ava figures are a line of figures based off of these illustrations that were meant to promote like a clothing line. Radio Ava is like a clothing line. It's a clothing brand slash clothing line that makes like Evangelion streetwear basically. Um, they're pretty cool. They make some cool stuff, and obviously like to promote Radio Ava, the clothing, they'll draw like the Ava characters wearing outfits, like wearing streetwear outfits. And so now, and those illustrations like are really cool, and so they've decided to like make figures of those illustrations. So it's just like Evangelion characters in streetwear, and they look really cool. And so far, there has been 3 releases. There's Evangelion, there's Radio Ava Line 1, there's Line 2, and then Line 3 is currently in pre-orders. It's not out yet, but it's in pre-orders. I got version 2. I got release 2, right? If you are at all familiar with like how figures are, if you've ever seen Drip Pose Kawaru, like he's from Radio Ava. He's like Kawaru with like he's stanced. He's got the I had to do it to him stance, and he's got like the little hoodie on, like, you know. That's from Radio Ava. Same with Art Ho Ray. She is from Radio Ava Line 1. She's got her little button down, her little beret, and she looks like an art student, and she's really cute. But that's not the one that I ended up getting. I got version 2 Ray, which I feel like I just like her design and her pose better. I feel like Radio Ava Line 1, those figures, to me, like, were very static. The poses were like a little bit static, and I'm not the biggest, like, I still like them, and I do still want them. I do still like the Radio Ava Line 1s, but I just like Line 2 more. I just like the Radio Ava Line 2 more, because also the quality, it, like, jumped up by a lot. While I was at the convention, I had the opportunity to, like, look at both, because, I was able to look at both Line 1 and Line 2 for some of the Radio Ava figures, and just, like, the level of quality, like, you can feel the difference in how... Because obviously, like, Radio Ava Line 1 is also a lot cheaper than Line 2. Line 2, not cheap. She was... Once again, don't ask me how much money I spent on her. Like, she was very expensive for, like, basically what is a figure of a girl standing there. But, like, to me, she's worth it. Yuko was, like, 100% worth it. Because Yuko's figure has, like, a whole thing to it. Like, she's got, like, a whole little diorama kind of scene to her, while Ray is kind of just like girl standing there. But I still really like her. I still think she was worth it. She's a figure. Both of them are figures I've been wanting for a long time, and I'm really glad to have them. Very glad to have them. Oh, I need both. Excellent. Yeah, I'm very happy to have them, and I'm very excited for, honestly, I want more of them now. It's so bad. Figure collecting is a problem. Don't do it to yourself. It's a very expensive hobby to have. But I say that, I already do Gunpla, and I collect figures. Like, that's two hit combo on my finances, honestly. I have a lot of... see, that's the problem with, like, having collector's brain rot. It's so bad. I should spend so much money on, like, merch and whatnot. I mean, not that it's, like... Again, I'm not, like, irresponsible about it, you know? As long as you're, like, responsible about it, I think it's fine. 'Cause it's, like... I feel like... Okay, I'm not someone who, like, parties or drinks, so I feel like whatever money I save from, like, not drinking, because alcohol is expensive. I see, like, sometimes when I go out with people and I'm like, I see how much people will spend on alcohol, and I'm like, that's crazy. That's crazy to spend that much money on, like, beverages. So I do also enjoy partaking in, like, fancy beverages, just like the non-alcoholic ones. But it's just kind of crazy to me. Is this the right side? The right side. It might not be. Oh, it is. Maybe it's just brain rot, but what hobbies are there that aren't expensive? Honestly, I think you're right. Like, all hobbies, like, cost money. All hobbies, like, cost money. You know? 'Tis the struggle of wanting to be alive. 'Tis the struggle of like wanting to be alive. Is that all hobbies cost money? I'm like, I have a lot of hobbies. I like doing a lot of things. I like picking up and dropping things. I guess drawing is not as expensive. I mean, unless you want it to be. Like drawing and painting is not that expensive unless you want it to be. Because I bought a tablet a while back, and I just have like my drawing tablet. I don't really have to like do anything else with it. Like I just have a tablet. I just have like my little drawing tablet. I guess though that is expensive, like for digital art at least, that is like an expensive thing. You have to buy a drawing tablet, which is like, I think mine was like $70. Which is like not cheap. So there is that. This is supposed to like really be. Okay. This is supposed to really. I think I've connected enough though. But yeah, like art and like drawing and painting, I feel like you can get away though with like, you know, people that have been doodling on their spare papers since they were kids, you know? I think that's not that bad. But you're kind of right though, like all hobbies are kind of expensive. That's kind of just how, unfortunately, how the cookie crumbles. I'm still not over like this beautiful vibrant blue. I love looking at it every time. I love you, Mr. Gouf. But yeah, that is true. All hobbies are expensive. I feel like a big hobby will find a way to make any hobby cost money. Yeah, literally. Big hobby will do anything cost money. I'm a fan of like, with most hobbies, there is a least expensive version of them. Yeah, like I feel like some hobbies kind of just like inherently cost money. Like Gunpla, to even build Gunpla, you have to buy them. So like that is kind of inherently like a thing. But there's some like art and drawing, like you can do it cheap. Same with like a lot of handicraft stuff like that. Like it is possible. I remember but the thing is, it still like costs money. You know, like I learned a bunch of handicraft stuff like for fun, and even then, like yarn costs money. Paper costs money. Like I'm into just 3D print them, bro. Okay, well then buy a 3D printer. Die. Yeah, struggle. The struggle. Struggles of capitalism. And trying to exist and be a person and enjoy things. Happy. That's why I feel like I could never, like, be... Oh my god, I can't believe someone who doesn't have a lot of money spent money on something that's, like, kind of frivolous. I'm like, okay, I guess, what am I supposed to do? Be miserable? I don't know, man. I feel like that's just like I don't know why. This is, I'm not trying to pivot into being political, but a little bit. Just a taste. I feel like it's a really stupid point when people are like, gotcha, that poor person just bought something that's like just bought a luxury, or like just bought something that's frivolous. See, it's their fault that they're poor. They should just budget better. Honestly, such a brain dead idea. Yeah, big hobby will always find a way to make things expensive. Big struggle. But yeah, I like me and my hobbies. But yeah, I had a lot of fun at Anime Boston. My my journey to and from Boston was kind of a time, because I took the train there and I flew back. Because I was basically leaving straight out of work. I didn't want to deal with an airport right after work. I was kind of in a hurry. So I was like, oh, I'll just take the train. It can't be that bad, right? Because, you know, the train is usually like a train to Boston is like 4 hours. What a time to arrive. Someone pull up balance my budget meme. Yeah. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Help me. I'm spending $1,600 a month on candles, $200 on utilities, $200 on groceries. Help me balance my budget. My family is starving. Spend less money on candles? No. But anyhow, the way I took the train to Boston, and I could have taken a direct train, but I'm I'm cheap. And so I wanted to like pick the less expensive option, and so that involved like a connection. I had to like transfer trains in Haven, and my connection in New Haven got delayed because there was a protest happening at New Haven station, and so my 4-hour trip turned into a 6-hour trip, which was a time. It sure was a time. And that's why I was glad that I booked a flight for returning. I wouldn't have to take another train. But also, I don't know how to feel about it. Because on one hand, I was like, I don't want to be on a train for 6 hours again. That sucks. But at the same time, I felt like I took the most useless flight known to man. I flew from Boston to New York. I was on a plane. I felt like I was in the air for less time than I was in the airport. Actually, that's kind of a lie. I got to the airport. We got to the airport kind of last minute. But even then, like, I think I was on the plane for like an hour. I was on the plane for an hour. It was like a 1-hour flight, and I felt bad. I was like, oh, this is the most useless flight known to man. But also, the train system is so bad. Like, even, private commuter rail, if I were to, like, it's a 1-hour flight, but a 4-hour train ride, not even counting, like, transfers or anything like that. And so, I'm like... So, it was a struggle. But I am glad I took a flight back because I wanted to, like... I was a fool. I didn't take the next day off from work. And so I knew I'd have to wake up early and go to work. And we finished, I think, in Boston. I think the convention, at least Dealers Hall, closed at like 3 p.m. And then we had to like break everything down and pack everything up, which took like 2 hours. So by the time we finished, it was like 5. And so my flight was at like 7. And so I'm like, okay, either I fly out at 7 and I'm back in New York by like 8 p.m. or I take a train and I leave at like 5 or 6 and I don't come back until like 10, 11. And that's if my train doesn't get delayed. And it's like, ugh. So I am glad that I took a flight, but I felt so bad because it really did feel like I took the most useless flight known to man. Because I sure was on a plane for like 1 hour. I sure was on a plane for like 1 hour. I was like, I didn't even want to sleep. I know I could have like, because obviously it's a convention weekend. I was very sleep deprived, as you do. That's just how convention weekends are. And I was like, I could have slept on the plane, but I didn't. Because I was like, my plane is like an hour. It was less than an hour. I think that my actual flight time was like 45 minutes. Like, there was like 15 minutes that we were still on the ground. And like taxiing and whatnot. I think that was like 15 minutes. The actual time that we were in the air was like 45 minutes. I was like, it is simply not worth taking a nap right now. And so I didn't. And I just stayed up and I read webtoons on my phone. And I didn't even finish a webtoon. I just read a webtoon until we landed. And I didn't even have enough time to finish the webtoon. Like, that's how short of a flight it was. Which is kind of crazy. It was also kind of funky. I'd never been to Boston Airport until now. I've never been in like Boston Airport because the thing is like I grew up in the Northeast. I've never like Boston has always been like driving distance. Sounds like my flight to try and get out of Canada back to Connecticut was only 2 hours. Yeah, like even then 2 hours feels better than being on a plane for like an hour. I was like, I remember, so you know how like on flights on the little screen they'll show you like a flight preview of like, here's where we are now and here's our destination, and it shows you like the little flight path and you get the little model airplane. The flight was so short, the little model airplane on the map like took up most of the like journey, because like the total distance was like this much, the little plane was this big, and so it was just like on my little like flight preview thing, I just had to watch it going like, bink, that's your flight. I was like, oh man, I am the problem. I am the problem with society. No, it's society's problem for not having robust train systems. Maybe if commuter rail wasn't garbage, I would not want to fly. I once saw a thing that's like any flight within the Northeast is like a policy failure, which honestly I think is true. Anywhere from like DC up to New England, if you have to fly between there, that's a policy failure. Because that's such a short distance that's like absolutely like you should be able to take a train. But it sucks that like taking a train is not faster than driving. Like because of my like connection train delay, it would have been faster for me to drive to Boston than if I were to take that train, which sucks. I'm like, it wasn't like it was like an Amtrak train. It was like private commuter rail. Like this is what it's meant for, and it like just sucks. And it just is not a good system, and it sucks that it's literally like just as slow, if not slower sometimes, than driving. And I'm like, man, it's kind of messed up that I took a train there and I took a plane back, and the plane was like easier to deal with. You know? The plane was easier to deal with. Even, you know, maybe I'm just so used to like JFK. JFK is hell. JFK is like hell is what JFK is. Like going through security at JFK is like should be classified as torture, because it's so slow and it takes so long and it's really annoying and people are stupid, and so they make it slower, and I have to waste all this time because America has decided that security theater is more important than like people's lives, but whatever, I guess. And when I was in Logan Airport, like JFK's dead. Yeah, JFK is in hell. JFK the airport is hell, and JFK the president. I don't know. That sounds kind of harsh. I don't know what he was actually like as a person. But anyhow, yeah. JFK didn't die for this. He died to be one of like the worst airports known to man. It's kind of a lie. JFK Airport's actually not that bad. Compared to other airports, JFK is like not that bad. I'm exaggerating just a bit, because JFK Airport is like actually not that bad. At least compared to other airports. Man, I was in Seattle Airport. That place, man, that place sucks. I was like not. I realized I'm so used to like LaGuardia and JFK. At least JFK, like, and LaGuardia got renovated. Oh, you have beef with Logan? What's your beef with Logan Airport? I was in there one time, and I actually had, like, not that bad of an experience. Because I'm used to JFK. And the security experience at JFK is, like, should be legally classified as torture. Meanwhile, in Logan, meanwhile, in Logan, I feel like it took me maybe like 20 minutes to get through security at Logan. Not even. Maybe less than that. It was like comically fast. I was like not expecting it because I was so expecting to like be in line for an hour or more, because that's what JFK is like. Let alone if you have to like, I didn't even have checked luggage. Even if you don't have checked bags in JFK, it still sucks. And so I was like so ready to just like stand in line forever. Should I hit up the plane boy who is in the Northeast? They lost the tickets for some reason of the group I was flying with to LA, and it was a whole— that sucks. That's rough. Yeah, luckily I don't have any beef with in my brief experience with Logan. I've not developed any beef. It just like was a normal airport experience. If anything, it was like better than JFK because one, it's a lot smaller than JFK, so it's harder to get lost. Because in JFK, I've had the experience where I show up and they're like, my flight's at Terminal A, and so I go to Terminal A. Or JFK has numbered terminals. I go to Terminal 1, and then they're like, actually, your flight got moved to Terminal 4. And I'm like, already at the airport, at Terminal 1. Terminal 4 is like 3 miles away. They're like, good luck, your flight's in 30 minutes. Die. And I'm like, okay, guess I'm gonna die. And you have to like navigate the JFK monorail. Or you just walk 3 miles. Like that's kind of it. I feel like I have— meanwhile with Logan, there's like 3 terminals. Meanwhile with Logan, one that didn't happen to me. I showed up kind of late for my flight, and even then I still had enough time to like sit there and eat dinner, to eat like an airport burger and hang out before actually like going to my flight. And it was like relatively on time. I think it only had like a 10-minute delay or something. Like the time between projected boarding time was and when I actually got on the plane was maybe like 10, like actual boarding happened was like 10 minutes, so it wasn't that bad. Because I'm used to like my flights at JFK being like, it tells me boarding is at 7:30, boarding is actually at 8 p.m. And that's if your flight doesn't get delayed. I don't think I've ever had a flight not get delayed at JFK. I think I've never had an on-time flight at JFK. Something always happens. And so that's why I just have like crazy beef with JFK. Meanwhile, at Logan, my one flight that I've had with Logan from Boston to New York was like, oh, like nothing happened. It was just like a normal flight experience. You know what other airport I've got beef with? I want to say, was it Dallas Fort Worth? I think Dallas Fort Worth. I had a layover at Dallas Fort Worth one time. Speaking of airports, I have personal beef with. Also, what do I eat for breakfast? It's 1 p.m. Airport breakfasts are good. Yeah, airport breakfast is pretty good. What do you eat for breakfast at 1 p.m.? I don't know. Egg. Have some egg. I actively avoid JFK unless I'm arriving. Newark or LaGuardia is usually cheaper. Yeah, honestly. I don't like going to Newark though. Because I don't want to be in New Jersey and I live in New York and getting over here is a pain. So I always either do JFK or LaGuardia. Yeah, Dallas Fort Worth sucks. One, I've got personal beef with Dallas Fort Worth Airport because I had a layover at Dallas Fort Worth. So on this specific trip, I have gotten a lot more into the habit of carrying I know. Why don't you want egg? I had to get a child to get back to Austin, yeah. But anyway, yeah, I had a layover at Dallas Fort Worth. I had a layover in Dallas Fort Worth, and the way my baggage situation tends to be is I'm cheap. I'm cheap. I don't like paying for checked bags. If I can fit it in my carry-on, it's going to be carry-on. And so I don't actually like carry a purse that often anymore. I tend to use like little sling bags or fanny packs because they're better. I just like them more. I like having my little sling bag or my little like fanny pack because it's just easier to deal with. So that is to say, it's not like a bag that I'm carrying. It's a little bag that's like on my person. Half the time I can like, it fits like underneath my jacket. And so usually on this specific flight, I had my carry-on luggage and I had a backpack. That was everything I packed. So I had my carry-on luggage and I had my backpack. And so I was like, okay, yeah, that's what's happening, right? That's what's happening. And I was like, okay. And so I had zero issues up until this point. I had zero issues with my setup up until this point. I had my carry-on, I had my backpack, and I had my little, technically I also had my little sling bag, but it's like, it was my little like fanny pack that lived on my person. So it's not like something I was carrying. It just like lived on my person. And up until this point, I had zero issues. Okay, up until this point, I had zero issues. Until I got to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. And I was trying to get on my connection plane so I could go back home. And the person who's like screening, who's like scanning your ticket to get on the plane when it's boarding was like, excuse me, you have 3 bags. You're only allowed to have 2. And I'm like, what do you mean I have 3 bags? I have a carry-on and I have a backpack. And like, excuse me, there's another bag. And they were referring to my little like fanny pack. And I'm like, hello? It's literally like under my jacket. What are you on? But anyhow, they made me take off my little sling bag and put it in my stuff it into my backpack so that I could get on the plane. And it wasted me like almost 10 minutes because I had to get out of line and I had to go and I had to take it off, like take off my jacket and my backpack and stuff it in my backpack and make sure it fits and do all of this stuff. And it was a pain. It was a pain, and because of that, by the time I got on the plane, there was no more overhead space in like even remotely close to me. So I had to put my carry-on like on the opposite side of the airplane, and it sucked. Anyhow, if you're listening, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport, you suck. I hate you, Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. You were just there. Brunch and Build, where's the brunch? I bring the build, you bring the brunch, is how that works. Figure out your own brunch. Eat pancakes. I don't know. It's also 1 p.m. You can be having lunch. You can eat a sandwich. You should eat a sandwich. Yeah, what is defined as a bag to her? I was like, I just needed to get on the plane. Like, I have to go. Dallas-Fort Worth also has, yeah. It has, honestly, I felt like I was going crazy. Like, why is Dallas-Fort Worth Airport just like a line? Yeah, is it chilling or not? Is the Ziploc bag a bag you need to pay for? Yeah. Why is it like a line? Why is Dallas-Fort Worth Airport shaped like that? I just feel like it's not efficiently designed even a little bit. Like, why is Dallas-Fort Worth Airport like that? Anyway, I have beef with Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. I never want to go back there unless I have to. Yeah. If I had the time, I would want to do that. But I just wanted to get on the plane and leave. I just wanted to get on the plane and leave. And it sucked. And so I just had to like, okay. Texas is a great example of why some people need limitations. Yeah. I feel like Dallas-Fort Worth Airport is like not efficient even a little bit. Like, why is everything like in a line? If I want to go from one end to another end, like there's no layering. There's no like efficiency of like space. It's just like all laid. I don't even know how to describe it. It's like just all laid out. And so if I want to go from one end to, I wanted to just like go to my terminal and I had to walk forever. Because everything is just in a line, which sucks. What if my bag is a PS5 box? Yeah. No, she like kicked me. I like had to get out of line to deal with this. I had to like get out of line to deal with this. It was crazy. What if my bag is a PS5 box? Yeah. It was kind of funny on my flight back to New York from Boston. See, they didn't raise a stink about my sling bag, about my little sling bag. They didn't. No one cared because it was under my jacket. I was also paranoid. I literally hid it under my jacket because I didn't want them to like potentially raise a stink about it. It has a monorail as well between terminals. Every terminal a straight line. Yeah, exactly. Like every terminal is just in a straight line. I remember at Dallas Fort Worth, I had to like walk a lot because my terminal was like a later number, and so I just had to walk like forever to get to my get to my gate, and it sucked. I was like, what the heck is this? It, for a moment, it made me appreciate JFK. Which is saying something, because I don't like JFK. Okay, so your donuts. That sounds pretty good. Yeah, everything is a straight line, and I don't understand why it's like that. I don't know why Dallas Fort Worth is like that. I think I was in Dallas Fort Worth I was there for like over an hour. I think my layover was like an hour and a half. But I'm like, yeah, I try and fly into LaGuardia if I can, but some flights I can only come into JFK for. Dining points in 5 weeks, or else it's converted. Good luck. Speaking of mundane things that I'm going to talk about, that I'm going to force you guys to listen to me talk about. Oh wait, it's a runner. I need the runner that's where did I put the A runner? It's somewhere. It is somewhere. Let's see. Is the A what? Probably just buy lots of cheese. Yeah. Speaking of mundane things that I will make you listen to talk about. I tried going to a different grocery store this week for my groceries. Because for like 6 rolls of cheddar, Baby Bell cheese rolls at the grocery store is $5. That's kind of crazy. See, where's the A runner? Runner even. Do you have a runner? That's what it feels like. Do I have a runner? I wish I knew. A runner is the one that has like the. Okay. I think A runner is the multicolored one, but I just don't know where I put it. Did I lose my runner? Did I like drop it somewhere? Did it go somewhere? How does it feel to have a car finally? It feels pretty great. I've gotten a lot better at driving. I'm no longer scared of the left lane. For the longest time, I was terrified of using the left lane. Check the lid, yeah. That's what we're doing. Did I like lose it under here? Okay. This is H, this is D, this is also D, and this is J. Oh, I did drop it. That's exactly. I was like, where did it go? It's because I dropped it on the ground, is what happened. I dropped it on the ground, is what happened. I still managed to somehow go slow in a plane. Yeah. It's always like that. Especially here in New York. That's just what it's like. that's just what it's like. Someone will always be mad at you. There's always someone that is going to be mad at you, because it's New York and everyone hates you and no one in New York knows how to drive. I've been join me in cursing out right lane behavior. Listen, I'm usually a right lane baby. Okay, I'm a baby. I'm going to I want to drive the speed limit, and I'm going to live in the right lane. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna live in the right lane. Don't bother me. If you want to go around me, just do that, please. Because for the most part, I'm like, yeah, I don't get road rage. I don't think I get road rage either. I'm like, I get confused. Because especially here in New York, I feel like people don't know how to drive. I'm like, they're really giving out their license, like, they're giving out driver's license out of cereal boxes out here. Because I found out from some of my friends, like, obviously I have friends that live in New York that got their licenses in New York. I did all of my testing and whatnot in Connecticut. I have a Connecticut license, and I did all of my testing in Connecticut. And the Connecticut driver's license test is, like, intense. Like, races random people on the highway. Yeah, Connecticut driver's license test is intense. Like, my test took like 20 minutes of driving on local roads and back, like, I had to drive on back roads and then main roads and then left turn and then back park and parallel park and, like, turn left and, like, do all of this stuff, and, like, they really take you around. On my test, I had to drive through, I took my test in the winter, so I had to drive through ice on my driver's test. I had to drive through ice. It sucked. And so I'm like, I'm used to, I'm like, yeah, that's the driving test experience. But then I was talking to people that are from New York, and they're like, oh, for my driver's test, they just take you. Yeah, it was scary for me too. I was terrified. Because they make you do a lot. Meanwhile, in New York, they just take you around a block and have you parallel park. Like, that's it. They just take you around the block and have you parallel park. On my test, I had to turn left, I had to change lanes, I had to, like, yeah. I had to change lanes, I had to back park, I had to go on back roads, I had to take a main road, I had to turn left on a main road, I had to change lanes, I had to do all this stuff. My test was like 20 minutes long. Yeah, me too. There wasn't a car for parallel parking, and so I parallel parked next to with a relative to, like, trees. Wow, that's crazy. And even then, they just take you around the block, and they're like, okay, here's your driver's license, which is crazy to me. I had to, like, lane change. I had to, like, do all this crazy stuff. Yeah. My tester made me parallel park, but it was quote unquote parallel parking. I also got it on the first try, where they just, like, yeah. I'll always flex that I got perfect marks on mine. I didn't have a single thing marked wrong. Let's go. But yeah, that's the Connecticut test. Compared to the New York one, is, like, crazy. And it makes everything make so much sense about New York drivers and why no one here knows how to drive. You literally just go around a block and they give you your license. Yeah, I also failed the first time. But honestly, the main reason why I failed, because I drove how people drove instead of how the law requires. Yeah. That's really how it is. It's crazy. Okay. Oh, now I get to attach the feet. Now the feet get to be here. Well, the foot, because this is just the right leg. I didn't even pass with 100%. I got marked for going too slow. Well, on the test that I passed, I got not a single thing marked wrong. Yeah. Though I do kind of blame the first person who was the proctor on my first test, because he got mad at me for like letting an old woman cross the street, okay? That was crazy. I was like, what's your problem? Okay, what is your problem? Oh, this goes this goes in like here. Oh my god. Oh my god. Right leg complete. Right leg complete. Look at that. He's got a right leg. It is completed. We're gonna refocus. What? That's on focus. There we go. Right leg complete. Yeah, New York drivers built different. There's so many times, like the amount of times I'm just like driving on the road and there's so many people. One, no one knows how to use their turn signals. No one knows how, like when someone's changing lanes, no one knows how to signal. Like I just constantly have to be like, I'm just always ready for someone to cut me off. I'm like always ready for someone to just decide to go in front of me at all times. I just expect it to happen because it probably will. The amount of times, like, you know, you're trying to make a turn, but there's oncoming traffic, and you gotta time it so that there's a lot of people that really try and make turns that are not makeable, and I just have to slam on my brakes, you know? I'm also, like, I don't get road rage. Yeah, turn signal's a suggestion. I don't get road rage, so I've only ever used my horn one time. I've only ever honked my horn one time, and it was because some guy in a big pickup truck decided to cut across 4 lanes of traffic to make a turn while I'm going like, this is a main road. I'm going 40 miles per hour. This is a main road. This is a turnpike. I'm currently going 40 miles per hour. And this guy just decides to like just cut in front of me, just go straight across, cut across 4 lanes of traffic. And I had to slam on my brakes that I didn't T-bone them. I didn't just T-bone this truck and just die on impact because I am in my little Honda Civic. Me and my Honda Civic, if I hit that truck, I would just die, honestly. That's why I'm still terrified whenever I'm near cars that are bigger than mine, which is most cars are just bigger than my car. That was the one time I ever used my horn because I was just like I like thought I was gonna die. I was like, what the heck? And so I honked at this guy for cutting across 4 lanes of traffic and cutting directly in front of me. Some of those turnpikes are designed for that. Yeah, but like, I thought the point is you're supposed to wait until there isn't as much oncoming traffic. You're supposed to wait, like, my morning commute every day is I have to turn left on that turnpike, and it's annoying. I have to sit there and wait for it to clear up. Like, I have to sit there and wait for it to clear up so that I can make my left turn onto the turnpike. But like, you know, you wait for the light. You wait for like a red light to happen so that you can do that. This guy just didn't. He just didn't. And was just like, I'm going to go right now. And I almost T-boned them because I was going 40 miles per hour. And I had just passed a green light. I was like, what? Like, it was kind of stupid because it was like right after a light. Like, you could have just waited until that light turned red and you would have been fine. Because it's not like he was in the middle of the road. Like, there's a turning lane. He was in the turning lane. So it's not like he's holding up traffic. Like, there's a turning lane. He just didn't want to wait, I guess. He just didn't want to wait for a red light and just decided to cut off, like, several lanes of oncoming traffic, okay? But, yeah. No one knows how to drive here. But I'm trying. I definitely am a lot better at driving. I'm no longer scared of the left lane. I do like zooming in the left lane sometimes. But anyhow, it is about that time! That's enough of talking about the mundane things that are happening in my life. I know it's so interesting for you guys to hear about my adventures driving on the local turnpike and going to new grocery stores, but I wanted it to be chill this week. I was off for a week. I was at Anime Boston. I talked about Anime Boston and how I had fun there. No one knows how to drive anywhere. Yeah, you're right. I had a lot of fun at Anime Boston. I got funky new anime figures that I posted on the Discord if you want to look at them. I'm very happy. I went to a cool concert to see Queen Bee. I'd highly recommend checking out their music if you aren't familiar with them, because I love Queen Bee. Their music is good. Their music is really good. And I saw them in concert, which is really sick, and I had a good time. This leg is complete, yeah. This leg of my journey has been complete. And so yeah, that is all for this week. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. I will be back next week, like normal, unless I like spontaneously combust. But hopefully that's not gonna happen. But otherwise, I shall be back next week, 11 a.m. EST, like normal, like always. Yeah. What is the Discord? Oh yes, we have our Brunch and Build Discord. I don't know, does the Discord command not work on here? I wonder if I can link it. But yeah, we don't have any bots. At least not in the YouTube, because recently we converted over to. Let me see. I like copy link. Okay. Can I post? Well, did it actually post? I wonder if the link actually posted, because it might be like no links are allowed to be posted. The schedule feature is pretty great. Great. I love that it just decided not to post. Man. Yeah. I love YouTube. I'm so happy since we've converted over to YouTube. Like, a lot of interface things are just way better and way nicer. I'm still figuring some things out. Like, I still have a lot of the moderation stuff I still don't quite know how to use. That's kind of why I love having Heather. But I'm working on it. That sucks. I wish I could post the link. Or okay. Okay, we're gonna do something. Can I do something like kind of. I'm just gonna like type out. Put it in the description. Is it? It might be in the description. It's not. Okay, I can't change the description. I'm surprised it's not linked on our thing. I'm surprised that it's not like linked anywhere. It really should be. Okay. This is kind of jank as a process, but our website is linked though. And if you go on our website, the link to our Discord's on the website. If you just like go into our account or whatever, it's like there. Because we have a store website, and if you scroll to the very bottom of the website, you see the little Discord link, and so you can find it there. But I will let Heather know to see if we can update that, because I don't know if I can update that myself. At least I don't know how to. So I will try and do that, but I can't like. I don't know if I can like update. Can I update the description? Can I like do that? Oh. I think I can. If I go to. Yeah. Oh, I didn't want to click on. Edit my stream. I can edit stream title and description. Okay, excellent. Um, for now, I'm just gonna put it in the description. And I'm sorry, Heather. Sorry, Heather. Thanks. But for now, this is what we're. Update. Excellent. Okay, if you refresh, if you refresh the stream. We love technical support section of Brunch and Build, yeah. Thank you guys for being my tech support. Okay, it's in the description of the stream now. If you refresh the page, it will be there. If you want to join our Discord, please do. That's where we post stream notifications. We have like the dedicated Brunch and Build channel. So it's the store Discord in general, but there is the dedicated Brunch and Build channel. And that's where I post like build pictures and stuff like that. And also I like when other people post their build pictures. But it's fun, hang out, talk about stream. If I ever like want to share an image that I mention on stream, I post it in the Discord. Okay, why my anime figure pictures are there. But anyhow, yeah. It is about that time. Thank you for tuning in, everyone who's decided to tune in this week. Thank you. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I shall see you all next week. Bye-bye!